Good afternoon and welcome to our session, International Markets of Opportunity, Exporting Your Products and Services to Peru. My name is Alice Ancona. I'm Senior Vice President and COO of the World Trade Center Miami. The World Trade Center Miami is the organizer of the America's Food and Beverage Show. For those of you attending this session live, in the bottom of your screen, you will have a Q&A button as well as a chat button. Please enter your questions there and we will address them at the end of the session. And now to begin our program, I'd like to introduce our two speakers, Zeke, Bryant, and Alvaro Loza from the Foreign Agricultural Service, USDA in Lima, Peru. Gentlemen, the show is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zeke Bryant. I am the Agricultural Attaché for FAS Lima. I started this role at the end of July this year, along with our new counselor, Dwight Wilder. So we've only been on this portfolio a couple of months. Our office covers Peru, Ecuador, and Bolivia, and we have a great and dedicated team of 5 specialists in Lima and 2 in Quito, Ecuador. Today, I will be joined by our wonderful marketing specialist, Alvaro Loza, who knows this market quite well. Although I'm not in Lima yet, I will be arriving there in mid-December, and Dwight will be there by mid-January, and we look forward to hopefully working with many of you during our next few years in Peru. To continue, as I'm sure many of you know, FAS's mission is linking U.S. agriculture to the world to enhance export opportunities and global food security. Under that, our work in Peru really covers the gamut of all the pillars of work that FAS does, including trade promotion, trade policy, agricultural market and production reporting, and capacity building, which keeps our office quite busy and engaged. To move on to some more specifically about the country of Peru, as you can see from some of the factoids here, Peru is located on the west coast of South America, bordering the Pacific Ocean. It's the 7th largest economy in South America, and it's really grown rapidly in the last couple of years. Peru is a country of 30 million people, and the capital city of Lima contains roughly 1/3 of this country's population, about 10 million people. And I think that might be the 2nd largest city in South America, actually. Peru has 25 provinces, and its income level is upper middle class. Its main sectors are services, mining, general commerce, and particularly to agriculture, that represents about 5% of Peru's GDP. Important to our work is the U.S.-Peru Trade Promotion Agreement, which came into force in February 2009. And because of this, our bilateral trade has really skyrocketed in the past 11 years now. In last calendar year, 2019, our bilateral trade reached a record high of $3.7 billion, up 124% compared to 2009. Our U.S. agricultural exports have roughly doubled during this time, as well as Peru's exports to the U.S. Regarding Peru's main agricultural exports, those are coffee, asparagus, mangoes, grapes, paprika, avocados, onions, and also blueberries, which are a growing crop in Peru. I'll let Alvaro get into the more specifics about what the U.S. is exporting. But before I move on, I just want to add, because I'm sure we'll get some questions about it. Yes, Peru as a country and its economy has suffered during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially due to the loss of tourism. However, Peru appears to be on the right track coming out of the pandemic-induced recession, and it's the most recent COVID statistics look very promising. And the government has a robust reactivation plan. We fully expect Peru's economy and the import market there to rebound and continue to grow, especially once the tourism sector is able to fully restart. We believe there's going to continue to be lots of opportunities in this diverse market because despite the pandemic, total U.S. agricultural exports to Peru so far this year match the pace of last year, actually, and have even grown quite a lot in some categories, such as pulses. So now that I've expended what I think is just about all of my knowledge about this market, I'd like to turn the rest of the presentation over to our real expert, Mr. Alvaro Loza.
Thank you, Zeke. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you're safe at home. This presentation basically aims at give you information of, what's going on here in Peru, Of course, we're gonna give you information of how COVID impacted the economy, but again, just to give you the sense of how Peru reached to this level and what are the opportunities that we see given the sanitary situation, and of course, the steps that every person interested in exporting to Peru needs to follow. So, I mean, aligned with what Zeke explained before, I mean, Peru has been one of the top performing economies in the region in the last decade. That's, I mean, something that is pretty common. I mean, I think most of the features related to that are, you know, the strong macroeconomic credentials that Peru has implemented in the last years, strong framework for foreign investment. You know, we have attracted a lot of industry and companies that are looking for, you know, to get good revenues from their investment, especially, you know, having these natural resources on the mining industry. And of course, I mean, in the modernization of our infrastructure and other sectors that have been really important. Of course, the openness of Peru into the international trade arena has been really, really important. I mean, I you know, participating in a presentation before from the Peru's Minsator's office in Miami, and you know, they have, you know, given a lot of information why Peru is a very, very important in terms of opportunity to investment in Peru. And besides that, I would say that the openness to the international trade has been really important because it has given, especially to the sanitary agencies, the opportunity to get along with international standards. So, you know, every country tries to protect their own boundaries. But in this case, it was really instrumental, especially for Peru and the US-Peru Trade Promotion Agreement, which was the first one that Peru signed many years ago, to understand the importance to get along with these international standards in order to get the trade flows. So among those sectors that we have mentioned during the presentation, I would like to highlight tourism, although, you know, currently it has been really impacted by COVID. However, this shows you how the economy evolved in the last years, and because of the investment and the local demand, you know, people got the opportunity to access, you know, high value products. So the gastronomy is really renowned, and the Peruvian gastronomy is a very important, is renowned in the world. So that has created, you know, a group of people, and the gastronomy has become one of the main sources of attraction to these people that are looking differentiated gastronomy. So just keep in mind this sector, because I think it has a great future. It is extremely related to HRI. It is extremely related to the future investments that Peru is focusing their efforts to, and so it will be something really important to monitor. Again, the U.S.-Peru Trade Promotion Agreement has been instrumental to reach these levels of trade balance, which has a surplus on the side of Peru, but it has been really benefit for U.S. agricultural exports. Came into force in 2009. 80% of all the products or duties of goods, U.S. goods, were eliminated. Immediately, the agreement came into force, and you know, Peru holds now some around 19 trade agreements, which is again really useful in order to the opportunities that this openness has developed in the market. So this chart shows you how the trade balance has grown in the last 12 years, or well, this chart is up to 2018, but the trend continues in 2019. Again, the information that this chart doesn't give you probably is about, the mix of products. So bulk commodities remain the main category, from the US side, which is corn, basically soy, cotton, rice, pulses. But the second position is on high value, is the consumer oriented, which accounts for 30% of all the US agricultural exports into Peru's market. So this is really important because that gives you an idea that more high value products have been requested by the market because of this domestic demand. So this chart shows you the evolution of consumer oriented specifically. We started in $64 million in 2009, and now we are around, above 300 million, especially driven by key categories such as meats, beef, pork, poultry, prepared foods, which is, you will find assorted products within that category, cereal bars, protein concentrates. It is a long list of products. And, in the last years, tree nuts and fruits have become really interesting, especially going into the healthy category. Domestic demand, again, was the main driver behind this expansion, and we expect to keep growing. And this is related to the growth of the retail food channel in Peru, which we will get into more detail later on. So is Peru an attractive market for US agricultural products? I would say yes, definitely yes. Not all of them. There are some categories that needs to mature, but we're going into that direction. So rising household income, growing domestic demand, are fueling consumer-oriented growth. Again, this is not only as a result of the improvement of the food retail, but the HRI again, the hotel, restaurant, institutional, and which is related to this increasingly sophisticated cuisine that we explained before. And, just to give you information about how the food retail has improved, currently is 25% of the mother channel. I will just give you more insights of what this means. But last year, in 2019, the whole sector, the total sales of this sector was $20 billion. So let's get into the market structure. We're going to focus again only on the food retail. We're going to talk about a little bit about the HRI and what is is not a new trend, but it has become really important. We're going to go into the e-commerce world. So as I mentioned before, the retail food sector is comprised of two differentiated segments. The modern channel, which is, you will find supermarket, convenience stores, hard discounts, and cash and carry formats. These are newer infrastructure. We have three main chains, supermarket chains in Peru, and that represents 25% of total food sales in Peru. This is an average number. If you look at Lima, which is, a very important city, this could be higher, but this is an average number. And the traditional channel, which is basically wet markets and mom and pop stores, covers the rest. So the proximity, the daily purchase, the small packaging, lower prices, those are the main features of this channel. However, those channels, they have coexisted in the last years, but recently, because of the incursion of the big retailers into especially the hard discount and the cash and carry formats, they have taken some of the market share of the traditional channel, which has push them to get into, to improve their setup and try to adopt, marketing strategy to get consumers to their stores, to their outlets. The demographic new formats is a result of that there's no longer space in Lima. The real estate has become really, really pricey. And again, the proximity, and it is a very, it is a highly important feature of this format. So some retailers, they have, adapted to, they have to reduce the space of their outlets into these smaller formats. So you will see that convenience stores that we have had that, especially attached to the gas stations. Now we have isolated outlets, and the pioneer of that was a local company that started in 2015, and now they have over 350 outlets in Lima, which is impressive. It gives everybody the opportunity to get an assorted type of products. The logistics is important here, and they're not importing directly now, but we believe that they will get to a critical volume, out of the number of outlets that they will have in 2 or 3 more years, and they will be similar to OXXO in other countries. Anyway, so these are the supermarket chains in Peru. Just to give you an idea, we have 3 main companies. On the supermarket format, Cencosud Peru, which is a Chilean company that acquired One Supermarkets back in 2001, if I remember well. So they have 2 formats, One and Metro. One is the upscale, Metro is the hypermarket format. One of the main features of this company is that and especially on the One format, is that people has the preference to get the imported products from them. The difference was higher in the past. The other competitors, they have done several improvements towards that aspect, but still One very, it is identified with, if you want to get imported products, you will first go to One. The second company, which is currently the largest supermarket, is Supermercados Peruanos, is a Peruvian company, and they have 4 formats. Vivanda, which is the upscale, they only have 11 stores of that. Plaza Vea is the largest one, especially hypermarket formats. Mass, which is the hard discount and is the newest brand, is the newest. Let's say that they have put more investment in this format in the last years, and now they have 450 outlets, and especially this format is competing against the traditional channel. And the Ecommerce format, which is the cash and carry. And the third competitor is Hipermercados Totus, which is another Chilean company. They have only 2 formats, the hypermarket Totus and the Precio Uno Bodega, which is Precio Uno Hiperbodega. It's a long name, which is a hard discount format also. So Supermercados Peruanos holds the largest market share. There's a mistake on the slide. It says 39 in Totus, but it's way lower than even One. So Supermercados Peruanos is the number 1. Then you have Cencosud Peru, and then Totus. And then you also have other companies, but they're more related into the cash and carry, which is Macro, is a Dutch company. They only have 12 stores here in Peru, but their main target is, mom and pop stores or small neighborhood restaurants. They source for daily menus. And the newest of this group is Vega, which currently has 16 stores. And again, all of them are competing into the lower income segment. This is basically what the structure of all the companies in Peru. and now we are going into the previous slides. The previous slide was for the supermarket chains. Now we get into the convenience stores. As I mentioned before, in 2015, Tambo, which belongs to the Lindley family that used to own the Inca Cola brand here in Peru, and afterwards was sold to the Coca-Cola company. Anyway, so those are that company was the creator of Tambo Plus, which is basically an enhanced mom and pop store. They are the pioneers. They got a lot of ideas from experiences out of Peru, like OXXO, and they set up they changed the convenience store history here in Peru. And currently, they have more than 400 stores. Is the largest one, and again, we knew the convenience stores before that, but those were attached to the gas stations. So the second largest is the Grupo Romero, which is the brand Listo. Then we have Repsol Company. Again, those are companies related to the fuel industry, but they have seen an opportunity in developing these type of formats. And so, as I mentioned before, the lack of space was one of the reasons to develop or to get into this type of formats. The main categories that you will find there. This is not news for anybody. I mean, this is similar to 7-Eleven or to OXXO. So beverages, biscuits, water, ready-to-cook products you will find there. However, I mean, this is something that it has been one of the constraints to the U.S. industry, which is referred to the size of the packaging. So here in Peru, I mean, people are used to small packaging, especially because it's related to a lower price, right? So sometimes that's constrained when U.S. companies are trying to get into this market. They will think that a larger size will fit better the market, but it is the opposite. So this is a great opportunity for small packaging. Along the years in this position, I've met companies that they have switched into, or they understood this idea and they switched into this market trend, and they're doing way better than before. So. As I said, this is a direct competition to mom and pop outlets. Just to give you an idea of the number, this is we have 150,000 to 200,000 mom and pop outlets in Lima. It's the easiest business to open. If you have an empty garage, just put a couple of shelves and voila, you will have a mom and pop store. So. But again, this is an enhanced format, and it's aiming at a different target, and I think they're doing great because of the features. So e-commerce is now a new tool that these formats and even the supermarket chains they have been developing that. It's not new for them, but it has become more important derived from the sanitary situation. So last year, the sales of this segment was $180 million. It's not that much, but definitely is going up. So moving forward, this is one of the main results or outcomes in terms of adjustments of these type of formats in order to reach final consumers. So I will show you this chart, just a statistic of how e-commerce has been moving in Peru's market. So last year, e-commerce reached $4 billion. You have here, you will see that the category of food represents 22% of all sales. This is information to January this year, so I'm pretty sure, I haven't found recent information, but I'm pretty sure that this has grown, I mean, tremendously in these 6 or 7 months of having the pandemic situation here. So digital winners the crisis. So if you can see in this chart, the delivery has become the main way to get to our products. People are staying home, having presentations similar to this. So we are trying to adapt into that new world. Of course, I mean, e-commerce is not only having a website or a social media platform to advertise or sell your products. I mean, you need to tune up your logistics in order to get the product on time and according to the expectations of the consumer. So the companies are trying to re-engineer their structure towards that. It takes time, but it is impressive how many of them have advanced so far. But in the case of supermarket chains, they started before. So this is not. It was not that dramatic for them to catch up with this new trend. At the beginning, because of the logistic issues, the curfew, the lockdowns, and nobody could go out. It was a problem. We also have issues. I mean, some importers reported that they were having issues getting products from the U.S. on time because of the lack of materials to get the packaging. So, but that is over. So now we are back to business. And just to give you an idea, I was talking to one of the managers the other day, and they said that if they need to compare the sales of e-commerce, it will be like the third largest store in terms of sales in Peru. So that gives you an idea that the way we are getting or we're buying our products has changed. I mean, if we are going eventually in the future going into the new normal, I don't think these numbers will reduce that much. So let's keep an eye on that and try to adapt, our products into that channel. Again, we're going into the food service sector. This is really, I mean, impacted by COVID. 2 months ago, the government allowed supermarkets to resume operations. I mean, at the beginning, they were allowed to offer 40% of the seating capacity. Now it's 50% and it's going up every day. I mean, the government encourages them to adapt all the sanitary measures amid COVID. But again, I mean, it has many restaurants or many small restaurants, especially those ones that buy from the hard discounts or the cash and carry formats, they have closed. They couldn't resist the crisis of being closed for 2 months, and it are the main companies that are working now are related to the food service industry. I mean, in which they have many outlets, so they can resist. They could resist this impact. But anyway, the expectation is that the market or the sector will bounce back eventually. And one of the main features that you need to understand here in food service, which is important, especially for categories such as meat, 80% of the US meat exports go through food service. Chicken leg quarters go through the food service. So if you see the statistics this year, you will see a reduction on those categories, especially because of the impact of this sector. But again, I think the e-commerce has covered some part of those losses, but again, eventually these restaurants will come back fully to cover, those months of crisis. anyway, so one of the features that I wanted to say is that the restaurants, they do not import directly. So the importer that signs a distribution agreement with you, they will provide, or they will be the main source for the food service sector. So in order to be profitable for an importer, they need to cover both channels, you know, the food retail and the HRI. Again, so you will see potential categories that eventually will resume operations: meat, sauces, dry fruits, nuts, and of course, wine, beer, and spirits. So what is the strategy for the market entry here in Peru? I mean, this is my recommendation. I mean, you can find other ways, but this is my, according to my experience in more than 10 years working here. And first of all, you need to be sure about if your product can enter the market. You know, I've seen several, you know, meetings in which everything was good except the sanitary regulation. And it is not that Peru, I mean, you know, it looks for obstacles to get products. Is that the industry in the US moves that fast in order to find, you know, affordable products, or, you know, to reduce costs. So they need to use ingredients that are not familiar here in Peru, and this is where it comes up as an issue. So Peru adopts, you know, Codex as, you know, as the standards and guidelines for food safety. If it's not within Codex, then, I mean, they will use other systems as reference, like FDA and the EU. But, and this is where sometimes there are some ingredients that are not that clear within the FDA regulations. And the system in the US is different here. So because of the lack of resources and the lack of, you know, specialists that could go to your plant or the manufacturing, check the manufacturing process and see if you're complying with food safety standards. So that's why Peru uses more certificates to guarantee the food safety of the process to obtain a certain product. But sometimes that's not easy to get. So you've heard before about the free sale certificate, which is really important to register the products here in Peru. And there's several entities in the United States that they can issue that document. So it becomes a cumbersome process, but it's not impossible. So our recommendation is that you get along, so you get information about what are the regulations that your product will need to grant that permit from the sanitary agency. So we have two agencies here. One is related to the processed products, food and beverage, which is the HESA, which is the FDA counterpart, if you wanted to put it that way. And the other one is SENASA, which is more related to APHIS and FSIS. And basically the surveillance is going to raw products, you know, primary products. So if you want to export, for instance, raw meat, so you will need to, I mean, the product will need to come along with a sanitary certificate from FSIS. And here at port, an inspector from SENASA will check the information. If you want to sell, you know, a bottle of wine, then you will need to register the product first. And for that, you will need to provide information, lab tests, the free sale certificate, and other information that is, it is public. It is advertised at the website of the HESA. We also have that information in English. I mean, we can provide the information. The importer or whoever you're dealing with, they can also provide you with the information. And it takes time. I mean, according to the law, it says 7 working days, but I mean, I would say that a month, it's something, it's an average because of the, number of documentation that you will need to provide. So going back to the market entry strategy, and the other important thing is just to get in contact with reliable importer and distributors. So be diligent, when selecting a partner. This is a very good practice. You need to come down to Peru. Although, even though the government has resumed international flights, wear a mask here, keep the social distance, and everything will be fine. But your visits and face-to-face meetings are highly recommended. Although, during this, in the digital world has given us the opportunity to reduce timing to get those meetings. Anyway, you can send us an email in order to give you, background information of companies we have done. We do that every time. We monitor all the agricultural products that get into the market. There are new companies. We're trying to get information, try to get information of what the objectives are in a way to also have that in mind if some company is trying to offer something. So once you made the contact, it could be something as a result of this trade show, for instance. You will have the initial contact, you will show your product that according to their experience, they will say yes or no. But here's the sequence of what is going to happen, and they will analyze the product. Then they will do a cost analysis, and if that works, they will present the product into the trade channel, supermarkets or whoever the client is. And if they got the green light, then you will start the registration process. I think that's the logic behind that. And just don't get mad if the company here takes some time to come back with a final question, because he is expecting other responses afterwards. So I checked that the time is going fast, so I will need to move forward. So, and once you get to an agreement and the product is registered and the product is here, another thing that you will need to have in mind is the marketing support. And this is a prize market. Unfortunately, given all the taxes and the costs and markups of the importer and the supermarket chains, U.S. products finally they have higher prices than other products, local, domestic, or other origin. But this is where you need to work with your importer in order to fix, a fair price for everybody. This is a business, everybody wants to win here. And you should also get in contact with U.S. Representatives of the U.S. industry. So, I don't know if you have heard before of these institutions, but we give a lot of resources to the U.S. industry to promote their specific products abroad, the United States. So here in Peru, for instance, we work with the U.S. Meat Export Federation that covers pork and beef, with the Washington Apple Commission. So this is all the fruit coming from the northwest coast. The same for almonds and the soybeans and dairy products. So usually these institutions, they do have representatives down here. They develop marketing activities. They provide technical seminars, and they develop content that you can use or you can take advantage through social media. And then you have also the state regional trade associations, which are SASTA, Food Export, and WUSADA. All of them have this specific program, which is branded program. I mean, it's not the same name, but it's the same objective. It works similar in all the cases. I encourage you to get into their websites and get familiar with these programs, because they have money for marketing purposes. If you want to develop an in-store promotion here in Peru, that you could cover 50% of that using these programs. I just don't want to give you more details because I'm not sure about some of the features of the program, but I mean, at the end, that this is money for newcomers into foreign markets for at least 3 or 5 years to help you to grow your businesses here. So of course we can provide you with more information, but I encourage you to keep in mind. And if you don't have any chance to get in contact with them, then you will need to think in your cost structure some marketing dollars for these activities, especially for the new products again. So this is just an information for everybody. I mean, we had to adapt based on the previous way that we promote US products in general. So we had to adapt our efforts. We developed a digital platform, which is Sabor USA, that basically is a joint venture that gives the opportunity to all the FAS stakeholders to promote their products on social media and websites. So the main objective is just to become a reliable and a unique source of information about existing US products in the market. Where can I get them, these products? How can I use them? And many more, much more information about, the benefits we're having there. So this is new in Peru, but it's not new within FAS. It started in Colombia in 2015. So I encourage you to get into the website and get more information, or contact us if you want to have more information about it. So this is the end of the presentation. I hope I can cover most of your doubts about that. This is the information of our office. I think 40 minutes, couldn't be better. So I'll let you get into the Q&A sessions.
All right, thank you, Alvaro and Zeke. We are open for Q&A. I still see participants online, so we're going to give everyone a second to see if they have any questions and answers. Questions that they need answered to. Note that in the bottom of the screen, we do have a Q&A box as well as a chat box, so either one of those two work, and we'll give folks a minute to see if there's any questions that come in. Alvaro, it would be good to have your contact screen up, just in case people are still, sometimes that's really the question that we get the most is, how do I reach out to you?
There you
And
go.
that's really what most people want, is to reach out to you and reach to get questions directly to you. So we'll hold a minute or so to see if anything comes in. Okay, I do not see any questions, so I think we are good here. Thank you both, Zeke and Alvaro. Again, this presentation was recorded. It will be available on the America's Food and Beverage Show platform within 24 to 48 hours. So for those that want to see the video again, and for those that have not seen the video, it'll be available to them. And then following the conference, we will have this on our website. So thank you both, and have a good evening.
You too, thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Alice.
Bye.
Bye.